are a developing works theater, so some of the stuff we do is brand new, like the stuff you're going to see, and some of it has already developed, like some of the shows on our stage downstairs. This stage, and across the water, we have 2 stages in Berkeley. You can find out about all of this stuff from our work. My name is Charlie Barron. I've been working at this little theater for 28 years. I'm also the teacher of the performers that you're about to see. So let us all take our 21st century devices and do the ritual of unplugging. Turn them all the way off. And Kenny, did you want to bring people down? Was that your thought?
It would be nice if people would.
Come on down. Since we're an intimate group,
Okay.
it gets to be way more fun. And if you would,
I'm actually sitting in this chair. It's best for my back. Can I move the chair?
you absolutely can. You can find one that you can.
This will be fine. I just want to make sure that I don't do anything wrong.
Absolutely. Come on down. This
I'm
will.
gonna have to climb over
You'll get
here.
an even
Do
closer
you
look.
want to go down the front row too?
This, stuff. So sit in the first row.
Thank you.
They'll have almost a studio theater quality to it. Okay. Those who are able, those who are not filming, come on down and get the sit in the $50 seats. All right, does that work for you?
Yeah, as long as it works for you.
Okay, good. So we're. So what you're going to see tonight is the first look at 7 brand new pieces. 2 months ago, these works did not exist. So you're the very first sets of eyes and ears to encounter these pieces. And that actually is a really important role, because until we put these pieces in front of an audience that has not been in the room as they've been developed, we really only have our first pass at a guess of what these pieces are and what they mean. So thank you for being part of it. What we're going to do is have 4 pieces and then a brief break, and then 3 more. So in the first half of the show, you will hear Harlan Bailey, Jamie Jobe, Nina Sacco, and David Steinor. Please give them a warm, warm welcome.
Hello, everybody. My name's Harlan Bailey. I want to thank you for coming out on a Monday night to listen to us. I'm a cultural artifact. Basically, I'm an artifact of West Coast fisheries, from California to Alaska. Now, there's a fever that can grip one. Heart is one for gold. And there's nothing to do but follow through once you're in its hold. I've had it long as I remember. Some say I was born that way. All I know is all my life I've always been this way. That's a part of a poem written by Dave Dinsmore. He's an old purse seine fisherman from Alaska. The sad and tragic thing about that is his 14-year-old son and his father were drowned in a crab boat accident in the mouth of the Columbia River. When I was 11 years old, I worked for my uncle. We went down to Monterey, to Fisherman's Wharf, to buy sardines. In those days, they were still catching sardines there and landing them. It was about the end of that fishery. And there were no tourist shops there or nothing. Everybody was just buying fish there. The time I went down there, this is the kind of gear people were wearing. Yeah. Everybody basically wore wool. Well, wool keeps you warm when it's wet. Trouble with wool is that all the gurry gets in the sleeves. Most fishermen cut the sleeves off. Otherwise, they rub on your wrists, cause open wounds. Before World War II, people didn't even have television. penicillin, excuse me. They didn't have either one, but especially not penicillin. Penicillin was really more important than television, I would say. So a lot of people died from getting those kind of wounds and getting what they call fish poisoning. That's better. I can see you guys better now. That's great. This is an example of the gear they wore. These hats. These are the baseball hat of the 19th century. People were still wearing them 60 years ago when I started working in the industry. All kind of people wore these. When newsboys wore them, they called them a newsboy hat. When painters wore them, it was a painter's hat. When fishermen wore them, the fishermen up in Seattle used to call it a halibut hat. They were all what they call longliners. They fish with a long line with a lot of hooks on it, lays on the bottom. That's how you fish with halibut. And if you ever seen one, it looks a little bit like that hat. They're round and they have a white belly. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to give you guys a little advice before I start here. You folks who reside above the tide, problems, you got them. Not so for us below, who reside along the bottom. I'm getting old. Too old for this shit. We have no borders, conflicting orders. Passports are not needed. The rights of others among our brothers, by natural law, are heeded. You didn't ask. It's not our task to advise you nations. I didn't bring my boot jack tonight either. But could it be that possibly you could learn from us crustaceans? Now, I spent 48 years on the Alaska fishing grounds. That's probably the longest fishery I ever engaged in. Worked in a lot of fisheries. Probably the second most profitable one was herring fishing here in San Francisco Bay. I did that 27 years. And that's what the piece I've written is about. The last one I read, by the way, was written by Harrison Smitty Smith. I don't know if he's drowned in the Columbia River bar, but he's been gone for a long time now. Yeah. I call this urban fishery. That day will come when, by the grace of God, old and incompetent, oblivious and incontinent, I'll be spending what's left of the pocket change of my life, laying flat on my back in a berth reserved for the nearly dead, in a room that smells like stale cafeteria food. Perhaps one of my old friends will come by to see me. Maybe he'll wear some of his work clothes. Maybe he'll wear his overalls and spill a little diesel fuel on it. Maybe a bus will go by out the window and I'll catch that smell. This serendipitous combination of ambient smells, I'm sure, will send my enfeebled, diminished mind, possibly my intact soul, right back to the herring boat, back to the confined cabin where we slept and ate our meals. This smell is the essential boat smell. I'll be there again with my captains and mates on the old boats, the Prime Time, the Italian Beauty, Foxy Lady. Uncle Sam and his brother Squash will be there too. My cousin Rico and his partner Guzzy, they'll be there. Freckles, the one all the old Italians call Speckles, he'll be there. Dominic and Tony Gio, two old bachelor brothers who used to fish with their father in a sailboat. They'll show up. They'll all visit. In fact, I'd like to see Marie DeSantis again. She was the first female fisher I ever knew. I'd also like to greet the boys from Bellingham. They were great fishermen without any nicknames. Maybe we'll go up to Raccoon Strait, look for some herring. Yeah. We'll set our nets under the rich people's houses, or Belvedere. We'll do this work right under their beds, while upstairs they enjoy the sleep of the comfortable and well-fed. Pianissimo, pianissimo, Tony says to Tom. Don't rattle the corks on the gun or you'll wake the people upstairs. Yeah. Once again, we're going to be running our boats across San Francisco Bay. One more time, we're going to pull night patrol on the shimmering Mill Pond Bay. We search for Clopea herengius, a genus of bony fish. They spawn in a flash mob. When night falls, they run. Individually, these little fish seem to have the mentality of a piece of seaweed. But in school, their behavior seems to add up to more than the sum of the individuals in intelligence and wisdom. In peril, I misread that. In peril, they gather for protection in tight balls from active predators. Only in the sex act, when they randomly mill, they truly become individuals. At that time, enthralled in the reproductive process, they'll be most vulnerable to our nets. So we travel the shoreline and map the bathic terrain. Sonar searches the bottom. We gather in code groups and reference the landmarks to good sense of the past. A little later on, we're going to come out on the flood, fishing. We'll look at the red blinky in front of Richardson Bay and move out to Raccoon Straits, the Naked Lady in Mud Bay. We'll look down the Sausalito drop-off and go over to Yellow Bluff and search the underwater escarpment. We'll circle out the Traz. We'll search the channels, undersea valleys, and pinnacles looking for the little fish, all the while noting their movements and speculating on where they might go to spawn. Moving across the intertidal zone, we inspect the marin shoreline with its mini environment wooded valleys, which open up into little coves that seem to be little exotic worlds. Across the Golden Gate under the bridge, where rising sea levels flooded interior valleys through narrow gaps in the coastal range. For the last time, together, we will visit that singular city, that post-war city of free-range wildlife, city of peerless beauty and impossible dreams, golden city existing only on a promontory of our hearts. Brave new city, midway in the American century. We key the radio and inform the group that we are beginning our run at Crissy Field. We look at Gas House Cove and Fort Mason. We pass the ferry building and the bow and arrow. We weave between the piers. We can find no sign. South of the Bay Bridge is a different terrain. In the South Bay, there's no major river system draining a vast inland watershed. This body of water is shallow, flat shorelines, saltwater marshes and estuaries, tules and mudflats. The bottom is a sloping valley, gradually building up to the shore. We're cruising the South Bay waterfront now. We pass McCovey Cove. We used to call it China Basin. We meet at the shipyard in Mission Bay. We're headed for Hunter's Point, where the show begins at sundown. There, we will search the 19th century dry docks and World War II piers. We'll anchor there and wait for the right time. Maybe we'll take a westward around the corner for that little estuary between the shipyard and Candlestick Park. Uncle Sammy and I once caught 41,000 pounds of right herring there, when Joe Montana was winning the Super Bowl not a mile away from us. The herring, when they come, will cross under the Bay Bridge and move south at the midwater in a 20-foot thick layer about 20 feet off the bottom. The school will pass Hunter's Point at high water. The tide will go slack. The school will pause. As the tide turns, begins to ebb, the ripe fish will form into tight swirling balls. When this happens, these balls will begin falling upon the onshore and nearshore structures. Like bouncing balls, the masses of fish hit the shoreline. Like pinball or pachinko, the bouncing balls light up our set nets on the sonar. They spawn in shallows where there are rocks, pilings, and grasses for their sticky egg masses to adhere to. Anybody standing on shore with a few fish hooks and some orange and red yarn can catch a bucket full of those things in a few minutes if you're there at the right time. This is the most marvelous source of protein for the naturals. There was a time we fished on one of the only true urban fisheries. Those are very rich fishing grounds, located in the middle of a very large population center containing world-class cities grown together into an incomprehensible megalopolis. Two worlds there. The world of old fishermen squatting on a bucket under the bridge, the world of living on a boat and selling fish, and the world of people driving to work on the bridge overhead, all existing in the same space at the same time. The Hudson River once had a commercial herring fishery, herring and shad. Herring and shad are both clupidae. They have the same spawning habits. People have been harvesting before the Dutchmen arrived. And fisheries still do it within sight of New York City. The telling of this story seems like a fancy. I have to tell you that in real time it seemed like a dream to me.